Hello, Melissa. First off, I just want to say your podcast has been really helpful in honing my product management skills. I've gone from a product manager role to a lead product manager role, and now I am a digital product strategist. My question is all about how to build a digital strategy for a Fortune 50 company. And what I mean by that is we seem to lack a digital product strategy right underneath the corporate strategy, the enterprise level strategy that can tell our business units, our leaders, how to build and engage members digitally. You have marketing folks creating their own digital experiences. You have other organizations going off and partnering with different vendors to create digital experiences for our members, but never working with their internal digital teams and product teams to see if we should build it within our existing digital platforms or even innovate something new and keep it within our brand. Thank you so much. Looking forward to hearing your answer.
Great question. Now, this is a very common thing for companies that are going through digital transformations. A lot of times we leave strategy to the last thing. I see this happen a lot. I've been involved in a lot of them, and especially with Fortune 50 companies. I've worked with a ton of Fortune 50 companies. So do not be discouraged. This is the next learning step on your journey. Typically what happens is we go out and we train all the product managers, and then we realize that we don't know which way the product manager is actually running. So there's nothing to tie that corporate strategy back into what the teams are doing. And then we get into arguments with leadership about, are we building the right thing? So you are exactly at this point. This is what I would do in those companies. You need that corporate strategy, but that corporate strategy needs to be prioritized. Are we trying to expand into new markets? How do we want to grow? Where do we want to be in the next, 5 to 10 years? That vision needs to be really firm. Then what you do is you click down and you go into the portfolio product strategy. This is also why it's important to have very good product leaders, because those people are putting these things together. Now, this can differ how this manifests depending on what type of company you are. Now, if you are a very large enterprise that has multiple business units and those business units never interact with each other, you don't have the same customers, it's completely different, and we don't want to leverage software between them, you're going to look at each one of those business units as its own little portfolio strategy, kind of separate. And in this case, you might not need a chief product officer to go across all of the business units. Now, if you do want to leverage things between those business units, you want to build a platform, let's say, to share customer data, because we might have a customer that does a business account over there and then a retail account over there. Let's say if you're a bank, now you're going to want to think of yourself more like a platform. In which case you do want a strong chief product officer to look at this portfolio platform strategy. And what do I mean by the portfolio platform strategy? I'm not talking about the tech strategy. CTOs do that very, very much needed as well. But the CPO is going to be thinking about how we get more leverage across the whole business by building technology that can help us deliver value to customers faster. And that's the portfolio strategy. So it talks about how the infrastructure of technology helps us deliver value better, what it should be like as a customer to experience all of the different products we have, and why that's better for our business. So you're going to want to mock that up. You're going to want to figure out what that portfolio strategy is. And then you want to click into each one of the products that you have. Now, you might have multiple products under each one of those business lines, in which case you're going to have to do kind of like a mini portfolio strategy for there. But you're going to want to look at each one of those products that you have and then do the product strategies for each one of those. And that connects it back up to the business. So in order to do this, you do need a bunch of data. You need to get a bunch of product leaders in a room together to talk about how you could be leveraging things across different business units. You're going to want to do an analysis on who your customers are and what type of company you are to decide where to start. If you are operating like an individual business within one of those business units, you make your portfolio strategy for that. You don't worry about the rest of the business, and you just keep going that way, right? So you're just clicking down one level and going that way from the corporate strategy. But what you also want to take into account here is where strategy becomes important is if you have shared resources and prioritization across the business. So if there's any places where you do have shared resources, you want to make sure that your strategies are extremely prioritized across everybody who would be vying for those resources so that you know what's more important to the business. So that's really where you're going to have to go up and down and try to figure out, what do we want to be at the end of the day from a business perspective? Are we one platform with multiple applications on top of it and treating ourselves that way? Are we individual businesses kind of under this corporate umbrella? That's totally fine. It's up to you. I do believe that a lot of businesses can be leveraging platforms across their organization to share data and make things more powerful. And especially as you start to think about AI and these new technologies that are out there, it can make us run much more seamlessly. You're going to want to decide if that's right for you. So that's the first thing that you need to do when you're starting to think about a product strategy for a Fortune 50 company. What type of company do you want to be? How are we leveraging software? Who's going to run that portfolio product strategy? And if you don't have one person right now to do it, but you know you want to go in that direction, take all the product leads across all the business lines and throw them together. And that's going to be your joint initiative, but one portfolio strategy. And then in each business line, there will be multiple product strategies that these people will oversee. So you're going to want to roll that out. You're going to want to make sure that you have good data so that you can actually evaluate what you should be doing with it. You want to make sure you're involving the tech team so that they can tell you if it's possible to even do it or how you should be thinking about leveraging software. If you don't have people who understand tech really well, that's where you definitely bring in your tech leads as well to help. So in a lot of Fortune 50 companies, we go through a digital transformation. Many of the product leaders don't have a lot of software chops. They can learn, but you got to pair them with the tech people there. So that's why it's important to bring them in there too. But you're going to want to think about, how do we leverage software to get to our corporate strategy? That's the whole point of a portfolio strategy. That's really what is going to connect what the teams are doing back to what the corporation wants to achieve and how you're going to make money. So I hope that helps. Again, if you don't have one person to oversee this, make a team, right, to oversee it, but make sure you get a portfolio strategy down. Make sure you have product strategies that align to that. Make sure they're prioritized. Make sure there aren't 18,000 initiatives. You should only have like a few initiatives at the top. Otherwise, you're going to have 40,000 initiatives at the bottom. And that doesn't make any meaningful progress. So I would really start there and think about how you want to grow through software, what software can do for you.